trust the right thing done for the wrong reason. The why of the thing, that's the foundation.
And the foundation's solid. We farmers, we sit here every year when the rains fail, and we say, next year. Well, next year ain't gonna save us nor one after that. This world's a treasure, Donald. It's been telling us to leave it for a while now. Mankind was born on Earth. It was never meant to die here.
But maybe we've spent too long trying to figure all this out with theory.
You're a scientist, Bran.
So listen to me when I say that love isn't something we invented. It's observable and powerful. It has to mean something.
Love has meaning, yes. Social utility, social bonding, child rearing.
who I know is probably dead. Love is the one thing we're capable of perceiving that transcends dimensions of time and space. Maybe we should trust that, even if we can't understand it yet.
Yo. What's up, my friends? So I think we missed the stream last week, so this is the first stream in a little bit. Hope everyone's doing well. Just gonna settle in here for a moment and get into it. I have a lot of stuff to go over today, but we're gonna ease into it. Came for the music, staying for the analysis. Love to hear it. Shout out Dennis, one of the lead devs for In Silico Terminal. He shared that song this morning underneath one of my posts, and it was a fucking absolute banger, so had to yoink it and play it today. I'm generally not the guy that really likes a lot of other music that people share with me, but that song was fucking sick, so. Just catching up with chat, everybody. What's up to all my regular peoples? Sorry, I'm not that kind of nerdy streamer. It's gonna read out a bunch of individual names, but I do see all of you, and I do appreciate the fact that I somehow have the same people that show up every week to listen to me pretend like I know what I'm talking about. It's incredible. Alive and kicking, nobody can take me down. Damn. Yeah, I'm good, everybody, for those of you that are asking, and obviously I hope the same for you. But, yeah, I think I'll probably go ahead and get going. Before I do that, though, I'm going to go ahead and say there's 120 of you in here and 21 likes, so if you could do me a favor and press that like button, it helps us out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. My goal is to get this account to 25,000 by the end of the year. Last year, I 2.5x'd the sub count, so the goal is to do that again from 10k to 25k. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, because 25k is actually kind of a lot of subs on YouTube. YouTube subs are a lot harder to get than Twitter followers for some reason, but we're going for it. So here's everybody for tuning in. Press that like button for me, and let's get into some stuff. Press like twice. It literally unlikes if you do that. Legendary. Alright. So, could probably just go ahead and dive right into it. For those of you that are new, I run a pretty similar routine every week, at least for the public streams, where we focus on Bitcoin, tackle questions here and there, and get into some altcoins following that. So I have a lot of altcoins that I actually like right now, and when I say a lot, I mean like 10. Most altcoins still look like shit in my opinion, and I'm not super interested in the majority of them, but there are a couple of Chad winners out there. So yeah, basically the TLDR of the whole takeaway for today is going to be that you know, if you got on social media because Bitcoin went down 2 or 3%, and you're making all these changes to your plans and positioning and stuff because of what other people are saying on Twitter, you're doing it wrong. You gotta stop doing that kind of stuff, guys. Gotta you know, for higher time frame plans and stuff, have an actual strong view on things and don't just flip-flop. I just did like a quick glance on Twitter. I recently unmuted a whole bunch of accounts, so my Twitter feed is absolutely disgusting nowadays, but just a quick scan was more than I could handle. So we'll start off the stream by saying you guys really should use social media for having fun. I think it's an underrated concept. I don't go on to Twitter to find out what I should be doing with my portfolio or when I should be looking to buy the dip and things like that. I do that entirely on my own, operate in my own little vacuum for decision making. But Twitter is a great thing for having fun. I love going on there and shit posting with the boys and saying, you know, being an idiot basically. And I think it's just a really underrated piece. So I know that most of you guys are probably here to have me talk about charts and not talk about how you should handle social media, but you're going to have to deal with some of the more boring lessons in the process. Super important that you don't take Twitter too seriously. Sure, occasionally Twitter's going to provide you some alpha where maybe you learn a lesson from somebody or somebody brings some sort of narrative or token to your attention. That's all fine. No issue with that in my opinion. It's just most people don't have a really good read on what Bitcoin's going to do. Since Bitcoin's going to be the benchmark asset for crypto, that means that most people don't really know when we're going to go up or down. So just go ahead and ignore people and use Twitter to have fun and make memes. Make your own memes, guys. All right, so I'm going to ignore chat for a few and get into a little bit of Bitcoin talk. So we'll start off with the higher time frame. Feels like it's been ages since I've done one of these for you guys. It really hasn't been that long, but let's get into it. So here we are today. We're down 2.5% from the open, and the sky is falling. It's absolutely the end of the world right now, guys. CPI print came in a little higher, and it's over apparently, right? We're going to zero, right? 12K inevitable. That's the vibe that you're gonna get when you go onto social media. How I'm looking at things right now, so from a top-down point of view, the trend is still up. I've been super bullish and leaning, you know, towards upside continuation for, you know, like 14 months now almost, maybe almost 15, because I did start to pivot in December of 2022. The only time that I got really bearish at all was over here in the beginning of like Q4, where I did have the thesis for the lower high, and that got invalidated quick and went ahead and flipped. I just will take a quick moment to talk about that because I had a bunch of people commenting when I said I wanted to short like 29K, and then I ended up just longing 29K a few days later. And I had a lot of people talking about you're longing into supply, blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, it's obvious in hindsight now, so it's easy for me to say it, but look at what happens, right? Like, maybe that's just a good kind of segue lesson for you got to make your own plans and not care. Another really good lesson for that one was over here. We built up this range back in 2022, and we're at the range low, and I said if we come back up to this range high, I'm looking for a divergence up here, looking for my standard reasons to want to fade the reversion and take the swing short. And I had an infinite amount of reply, guys, even from people that I'm actually friends with, coming into my DMs telling me that's a crowded trade, everyone's going to want to take that, and look at what happened, right? So really, you guys gotta learn to operate in a vacuum and ignore people. Ignoring people is alpha. In two different types of alpha, let's be real. So anyways, let me get focused up and stop rambling about stupid shit. So where we're at right now, guys, is from a level standpoint, 44k is like a major support, 54k is a major resistance. That's kind of the area that we should be chopping around in for now. I do think it's just a matter of time before we trade up to 54k. Whether we come all the way back a little bit lower, who knows? I'll cover the specific levels to want to interact with when we get into the medium time frame. But as far as the macro goes, I do think it's just a matter of time before we trade up into this region. From there, I think that 60k is the kind of final zone. I don't even have that marked out on this specific chart, but if you look right here, we'll just lazily draw it in. Actually, let's do a proper drawing tool so I don't have to do this later. Right, like 60k, what the fuck? I'm a boomer? Whatever, we'll use a horizontal line. 60k, give or take. That's going to be the kind of final line in the sand. So how I'm viewing it is either we pull back into, demand down here, and then we trade up. So to doodle that for you guys, either we pull back further and then trade up into this region, or we just straight up Dalai Lama from where we're at. I did go ahead and start buying today. I probably have a little bit of a different risk tolerance than most of you, so I would be, maybe urge you to be a little bit cautious and not copy trade me, but I did go ahead and just start buying the dip today. Not on full size to allow for a little bit more wiggle room because I'm already like underwater on my Bitcoin buy, but I genuinely don't give a shit. It is what it is. So I think that we're going to resolve upwards eventually. Going to be paying very close attention to spot flows, which we can get into later, but kind of the TLDR on the higher time frame is either we come back a little bit further and trade up, or we come back a little bit further, maybe down all the way into this kind of demand block region and trade up, but it's going to be the same type of plan either way. Technically, there is a scenario, like I covered in my outlook on Sunday, where there is a scenario where this just is just a larger range, and this ends up being a deviation, and we come back into this range. I don't think I would assign this a pretty low probability, but if it does, I would definitely eat some drawdown during this period, and that would suck. But looking at it glass half full, if we trade down into this region, this is like turbo dip buying zone. So if we do for some reason come all the way back here, you're gonna want to gigapunt longs. So that's what I'm gonna be doing at least. I would assign this to be a very, very low probability for us to come all the way back to that. The only reason why that would happen is if the spot supply really started to kind of pick up, like we had with all the Coinbase selling last month. So unless there starts to be a very clear and present sign of spot selling, I don't think that we're going to come all the way back there. I didn't really even look at open interest. I don't know if we really wiped that much. Could probably just take a quick gander at that. Not really, like 10%. So I mean, that's probably all right. It's probably a good idea to look at lending rates and stuff right now, guys. I didn't take the time to look at any of that stuff this morning because I really don't care that much. But that's pretty much it for macro, right? I really think that it's just a matter of time before we trade up. 54k is basically going to be FTA. That's value area high from 2021. If we get above 54k, 60k is the next region to pay attention to. make it. Oh fuck, that's the wrong green. There we go. If we get above 60K, we're not even gonna be fucking about with this stuff. None of this stuff is gonna hold us back up here. If we start to get over 60K, we're into, you know, all-time high territory. I'm not gonna sit here and be the guy that talks about how we're gonna have all-time highs this year or whatever. I mean, it's super early in the year. It's February 13th, so it's totally possible that we end up at, you know, 80, 90K or something like that this year. I'd obviously love that. If you followed me for a long time, you know that I know how to short, but I really don't enjoy, you know, participating in that stuff that much. From a swing short standpoint, at least. I've taken a ridiculous amount of trades now in my career, and the stats don't lie. Shorting is really low expected value for me. So it really, you know, you guys have maybe seen this from other people that have been around a long time. When it makes sense to be bearish, it just makes sense to be conservative and not have a lot of long risk on, and just wait for the opportunity to buy shit. So that's definitely the mindset that I have going into this year, until that gets invalidated with like some bearish structuring and some significant spot distribution. I think that we keep trading higher. So to avoid repeating myself over and over again, I think that's pretty much it for macro on the corn. Just fucking parabola this bitch up, right? One kind of, you know, other thing to mention is like, you know, the halvening stuff. Historically, I mean, I haven't traded a whole lot of halvenings. Traded 2 prior to this one. This will be my 3rd. It's important to point out that historically there has been a lot of blood around, like, you know, either right before or right after the halvening stuff. So I think that in the long run, as in, you know, the next year or two, we're going to be trading much higher from where we're at now. But you do need to be prepared for potential situations where we trade lower. But I don't think that you need to worry about that just yet. I haven't really seen any clear spot distribution signs. So I will go ahead and stop rambling about this and catch up with chat, make sure that there's no concerns or questions, and then we'll move on. Does reverse dolly exist? Yes, it does. Absolutely. In 2022, reverse dollies were definitely a thing. We actually, Lear, I mean, it wasn't that hard. This is probably the easiest meme he ever made, because we already had the Dalai Lama memes, but the upside down Dalai Lama, it's definitely a thing. I believe we will hit 60K around Bitcoin halvening. I don't even know when the Bitcoin halvening is. Isn't that pretty soon? Isn't it like in April or something? Which alts to look at? Yeah, we'll get into alts later. Let's chill with the alts talk until I get to altcoin section. If inflation starts re-accelerating, the home market has priced in the landing inflation. Yeah, I don't care about macro shit. You know, I was able to switch bias, you know, in November of 2021. I'm not gonna lie, it did line up perfectly with the macro, because that's when the rates started getting hiked. The CPI in November 2021 came in really high, and that's when the Fed really started pivoting towards rate hikes. Jesus Christ, my tongue twist. I didn't sleep very much last night. The reason why I was able to do that pivot, though, had nothing to do with the macro. In hindsight, it was super obvious. I pivoted because of the spot flows, right? I mean, there was an incredibly obvious spot distribution in the, you know, 66 to 63K range up there. So hopefully everything has made sense so far. I don't see any questions. I do see Little Frank telling you guys to like, though. 165 of you guys in here and only 61 likes, so press that like for me, please. Does that mean break below 33 or 32 to 31 is sign of a bear? I would be hopefully flipping way before then, right? I mean, I would be looking for kind of a structural, like, you know, from a price action standpoint, I'd be looking for like a structural shift where we start, you know, doing the opposite of what we've done all this time, where we're making lower highs and making lower lows to shift from a high time frame standpoint. But the main thing for me, for those of you guys that have been watching all the outlooks recently, I don't really give a shit too much about perp flows, to be honest, right? Perp flows are important for days like today where we get washouts, right? I'm sure a huge part of the reason why we're washing down to the downside right now is people are over levered and stuff. But yeah, I mean, definitely huge emphasis on spot flows for me. That's the only thing I really care about for higher time frame. I think that you guys should view perp flows for lower time frame and spot flows for higher time frame. Obviously, that's lacking a bit of nuance because there can be overlap between the two, but to simplify things, that's the best way to segregate them. Your opinion of this being a possible double top, sir? It could be. I mean, double top? I don't think so, guys. I don't think so. I think that we either A, the pullback's done, or, you know, or almost done, which I'm not reading things right now because I'm on the stream. So I mean, I could try to do that in real time a little bit when we get to that section, but either the pullback is already done, or we trade back a little bit lower into the kind of void region and I end up having to cut longs and relong again. I'm not really hoping that happens, but it could. Just from a psychological standpoint, if we were to dolly this up, imagine, look at your guys' Twitter feed today. If we dollied from here, imagine the pain. Imagine what would happen. People would absolutely fucking get destroyed. I'm sure with days like today, all the emotions that I saw on the timeline, people, you know, are definitely flip-flopping around. And if we dollied this up really quickly, it would just be kind of, from a psychological standpoint, a perfect scenario. Just leave everybody behind that doesn't have conviction. Thoughts on the S&P? I don't really care about the S&P that much. I can... what chart would I don't even have an S&P chart set up anymore these days. I mean, this isn't really that good of an S&P chart, but we can do a quick glance at it. What is there to even say about this thing, right? This thing is fucking ridiculously strong. I mean, previous all-time highs, right? So maybe, you know, at worst case scenario, you see the S&P pulling back like that. But, you know, on the super high time frame, I don't even have like multi-year VWAPs, but from a multi-year VWAP standpoint, pretty fucking obvious. It's a massive uptrend. You know, yearly, you know, 2022, even 2022 is bullish, right? Current year is bullish. So everything about the S&P is pretty bullish on our time frame. So I think it's just a matter of time before the S&P dollies this up. But again, I really don't pay that much attention to this stuff anymore. I don't care, honestly. What's going on with my chart? This is why I hate loading up random charts. I just fuck my chart up. Weird. Thought it was literally just on the Binance ticker, and it wasn't. Anyways, moving on. I'll keep interacting with chat for a few, and then we'll move into medium time frames on Bitcoin, and then eventually get into shitcoins. Happenings around April 17th. Yeah, that sounds right. Could you give a few examples of how track spot flows? I mean, the easiest thing is going to be with spreads, right? So looking at premium discount, pay attention to spreads. You know, I would not recommend anybody uses aggregated CVDs, but individual CVDs, something like this, right? Individual CVDs, this could be really useful. You know, that's pretty much it though. There are other options. I would probably say using CVD plus a heat map, maybe, and premiums, right? Like spreads, premium discounts. Premium discounts is the most idiot-proof one for sure. Only thing is you have to have the context of is price going up or down, right? Look at premium discount and then is price going up or down. I have been covering that in my YouTube outlooks a lot, so you could go back and watch those where I drop little snippets of how I'm doing that. It's personal preference though. I only included 2 things. I'm not really interested in talking about all the ways that I would pay attention to spot flows, but there are a lot of ways, and you need to find things that make sense to you the most. Do you also buy stocks and commodities or only crypto? Yeah, pretty much only crypto. I do have equity allocation, but it's through indexes. I own like indexes in different ETFs and stuff, just as a, place to park money that I'm not using, because, yeah, I mean, hate to sound like such a cunt right now, but it's one of those things where I can't really use the money. Like, a lot of the money that I made in crypto can't really be used easily these days. So I definitely, over the past several years, have gone back to my roots and parked money in the boomer markets. That's where I started off. Trading equities and commodities. For commodities, it was primarily silver was the main one that I traded the most. And I did a lot of equities trading earlier on in my career before I pivoted to crypto. But yeah, it's basically like I don't actively trade boomer markets. It's portfolios, right? Like I just like park money there long term. People gushing over ETH BTC on Twitter yet? I hope not, for their sake. For ETH BTC guys, yeah, I mean, it's up 1% or whatever. Yeah, I mean, if people were horned up about this. So you guys that have watched for a long time know I've been bullying the shit out of ETH. As somebody who's fundamentally bullish on ETH long term, I've been really bearish from a, portfolio standpoint. I do absolutely buy into the idea though that the longer this BTC situation plays out, the more likely we are to start to pivot towards ETH over time, for 2 reasons. One, historically, when Bitcoin does really well, ETH lags behind and does poorly. Eventually, ETH plays catch up at some point when we're in clear risk on stages. That's definitely been something I've seen a lot in the past, so I would expect that to happen. I think that argument is strengthened by the idea that we will probably see Ethereum ETFs get approved, or spot ETFs to be clear. And that will obviously help have some positive impact on ETH long term. So I think that basically the longer we go in, like we're still in the, kind of early stages of the Bitcoin spot ETFs, the longer that takes place, the more likely we are to see ETH start to emerge. So from a portfolio standpoint, I'm very underweight ETH, and I have a lot of Bitcoin and Solana, and I will absolutely reallocate over towards ETH eventually. It's just a matter of when. And like if you look at ETH BTC, I've been saying this for a long time now. I have zero interest in having any meaningful allocation to ETH, just because Solana is just doing so much better. I said that kind of stuff a year ago, and I got shit for it. And look at the charts, right? I mean, look at this. So we'll move on. But I do think that ETH will have its moment. I just am not interested in it yet. Magnus, are you checking commitments of traders' weekly reports for BTC? I don't know what you mean by that. You talking about spot flows, or talking about inflows, you mean? When you say spot flows, what do you mean specifically? I mean the buying and selling of spot, right? Like when are people accumulating spot? When are they distributing it? I like how many people are just crying on the timeline and Nomad is just saying up. Yeah, honestly, guys, I don't really have that much respect for a lot of people in our space, if I'm being honest, but you definitely don't disrespect and fade Nomad. Some of you guys are maybe a little newer and don't remember, but I think it was either late 2020 or early 2021. A bunch of people said that, Nomad couldn't dump the market, and like a couple hours later, he dumped it 10%. So he dumped it from like 32 to 30,000, and it's just yeah. So people were unironically people were saying that Nomad couldn't dump it, and he's not the one that caused this. Obviously, it's a reaction to the CPI most likely, but Definitely don't fade Nomad. If it's going to 10K, would definitely be bearish. It's very insightful. It's very insightful, Al. Any thoughts on RSI, AO, div on Bitcoin, 3-day kind of clear? I don't really care that much about those kind of things. I'll look at it for you though. I wouldn't consider this to be that clear of a div, but you know, to each their own. I don't really trade off this kind of stuff that much, guys. I mostly just eyeball momentum these days, which if you had asked me about that years ago, I would have said eyeballing momentum is dumb, but the more you trade, like I really can just eyeball that shit. Like I don't need to use oscillators for it anymore. Thoughts on Tau? I would appreciate if you guys didn't ask about altcoins until we get there, to be honest. I'm pretty sure Tau is like an on-chain coin. I don't even know. Can you look at Helium? Bro, I can like already tell that that's going to be a turbo shitcoin. I'll tell you what though, if you re-ask when I get into altcoins, I will maybe take a look at it. But Helium, I can already tell is going to be a turbo shitcoin. Background music lit. Thanks, bro. It's Diablo Lo-Fi Beats. There's this channel, Bits and Hits. They take video game music and make lo-fi music for it, and yeah, I really like their stuff. It's just chill background music. X-File vibe. Why not aggregated? Because there's just like, I mean, I am tired of even saying these kind of things, to be honest. I've said it so many times. If you're aggregating something like you're aggregating Binance that does $20 billion a day, and you're comparing it against Bybit that does 3, right? You need to have a weighting between the two, and all the default aggregated, open interest. Open interest is probably fine, but aggregated CBD is fucking dumb, guys. Just trust me on that one. I don't really want to. It's mentally exhausting. I don't really want to get into that kind of stuff. I'm just tired of saying those kind of things. It just makes no sense to aggregate things that have completely stark differences in total volume, right? You know, people will aggregate Binance and Bybit and MEXC, right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You should separate them. Right, like this. Have individual CBDs specific to the exchange itself, if anything. Al's bearish, everybody. When you say premium discount, do you mean contango backwardation? So contango and backwardation is specific to futures, right? And when I'm talking about premium discount, I'm talking about perps against spot. So yes, technically a perp is a future, but when we're talking about contango backwardation, we're specifically talking about the futures that have expirations, so basically quarterly futures. We're talking about premium discount, it's the relationship between spot and perps, right? Because a futures contract is always going to be different priced to some degree from the underlying, from spot. But perps and spot are much more closely priced. And, when one's trading ahead of the other and you have price movement up or down, that can be a strong indication of what's going on. As a veteran, what's your take on Solana being the ETH of this cycle in terms of FA and TA? I don't want to define things like that. I straight up don't care. My argument for Solana has always been simple. Bet on the homies. For those of you guys that have been around a long time and watched my stuff, you've for sure heard me say that several times over. It's a lesson that I've learned being in this space a while now, that whenever over time, you should try to build up relationships with people that have different skill sets. And I have friends that are really good at fundamental stuff. To be specific, Sting. He's pretty much the only person I look to for that kind of stuff for the most part. I watched my friends be really bullish on Solana. Even when we were in the bear market and stuff, they kept participating in the Solana ecosystems and building them out. And that's the main thing that makes me bullish on Solana, is that when everybody was giving up on the markets and saying that all the chains are dead and stuff, I had a lot of good friends that were just out there grinding on Solana still, building out platforms and exchanges and protocols and stuff, and that made me bullish on Solana. So that's actually the main reason why I bet hard on Sol at the beginning of last year, was betting on the homies. That's a good lesson, guys, right? There's always a new protocol, a new narrative, a new this, a new that, all the time. And I really try to ignore a lot of the things unless I think that the narratives really have legs, and then I can basically bait other people into buying it and dump on them later on. And I don't mean some on-chain illiquid shit. I mean on liquid large cap plays, to be clear. I'm not doing fucking on-chain pump and dumps. I don't have any really respect for people that do that stuff personally. But, you know, I want narratives that can bring in a bunch of fucking people that don't even belong to crypto, and then we can all dump on them collectively. That's what I mean. So I think that Solana has that for a number of reasons. But again, bet on the homies. Oh, the COT report. Yeah, I've never seen the acronym spelt out. No, I don't really care. I probably should have a little bit of a different stance when it comes to CME futures, because obviously everyone's aware that their open interest is quite large these days. But you know, CME traders are going to be a completely different breed of trader compared to you know, all the standard futures and perp traders that we're used to. So it's really not going to, you know, give you necessarily the same type of insight, I don't think, but I should probably pay a little bit more attention to it. I'm like the boomer, though, that doesn't like to... I've been doing this for a long time. I have the kind of old man mindset where I don't like to add a whole bunch of new shit to my systems, you know, unless I think I need to. I really try to remove a lot of stuff from my systems over time. You're asking what volume profile it is. This is just the built-in TradingView VP. I don't do any crazy settings. I turn everything off, make it gray. I don't care about separating buy and sell volume. I just turn it all gray and add a bunch of rows. That's it, right? I want to see high volume nodes and low volume nodes. That's all I really care about volume profile for. Damn, you guys are chatting. All right, I'm going to try to catch up with chat, but you guys are going hard. Seems like there's a lot of second cyclers holding 2020 to 2021 coins who are just hoping their boats will get lifted. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously something that I would not, you know, tell people to do. Definitely, most previous cycle coins won't make it. The coins that are going to really have major performances in the future are almost always going to be coins that are newer. If I was to try to say that and, you know, quantify that a little bit more, you know, out of the X amount of coins that were made last cycle, you're going to see something like, you know, sub 5% of them do really well. Now, granted, though, that sub 5%, those could be massive plays. You know, like Solana is a good example of, like, that falls into that sub 5% category where Solana is a last cycle coin, but I do think it will, you know, have new all-time highs and stuff this cycle for sure, which is, I got a lot of shit for saying that kind of stuff, and that's almost consensus now, which is actually concerning for me. I don't want to be on the consensus side. Your volume profile is clean on the right. Mine is, you know, changes in the that's what this is too, right? So all right, we'll do a quick volume profile thing, right? This is the visible range profile, so this is going to be the one that changes when you give it different price action, right? When I give it more price action, it's going to load up. It's just going to show you the profile for whatever price action you get it. If you don't want to have that, you can use the PvP. Do I have the PvP turned on here? No. PvP, periodic volume profile. I think that this is going to be disgusting looking because it probably doesn't default to my race settings. Oh, it did. Interesting. So this one is good because you can set it to specific days, right? So let's say we want to look at the monthly. Give it a second and it'll load. Right, and it's going to give me monthly volume profiles. So if you want specific time periods, which I do use, you know, you look at this chart, right? This is specific time periods. Daily volume profile. Any chance you remember some keywords for your bids where you talk about spot flow stuff? I don't want to keep talking about that stuff, guys. Go back and watch some of my more recent YouTube outlooks where I explain that stuff. You're paying attention. You want to pay attention to it's all about, you know, is the liquidity thick, right? So liquidity plus takers, which taker volume is probably easiest to pay attention to with CVDs for most of you. But the easiest thing for sure is going to be spreads. You filter out a lot of noise. Correct. That is definitely the goal. There's so much randomness, so much noise, so much stuff to distract you, it's very easy to be the squirrel or the dog that goes after the squirrel from up. You need to figure out how to reduce the things you're looking at, reduce the things that can distract you, and have fun in between, because if you don't do those things, you're gonna fry your brain and you're gonna get burnt out and you're gonna give up. Seen it too many times. That's because new coins have bag holders. That's not the only reason. That's obviously part of it, but really it's actually a little bit more nefarious than that. New coins are going to be controlled and influenced by people that, you know, are insiders basically. So that's a big part of it as well. In most instances, at least. Had a couple types of those bags, just took the L on them, sold those, and put the money into new and shiny. Yeah, I mean, it's not universally true. That platitude gets said a lot as if it's universally true. Like I said earlier, there can be some coins, previous cycle coins, that can perform really well. It's just they're less likely, for sure. Kids these days. Yeah, let's stop looking at most things. Market structure is working out for me now. Yeah, market structure will be great for trending stuff. You know, if you're in a range environment, though, market structure is not really going to do all that much for you necessarily. All right, so I managed to catch up with chat. I'm going to hop into a little bit of medium time frame talk on the corn, and then we'll get into altcoins. So let's delete the doodles. Let's see where we're at. So basically, where we're at is either A, you know, this kind of region, this distribution that we just made before this markup. Let's go ahead and just draw it, the penis, because that's how all analysis is, right? Either we're about to, you know, hit the left, we're gonna hit the right ball and go up. Let's make that a little cleaner. Let's start that over too, so Lear can clip it for me. All right, so we're either going to pull back into the demand block and hit the right ball and bounce. I'm unironically, that is an actual plan, right? We either find support at demand right here and trade up from there. If we start to bottom out in this region, I'm gonna definitely expand upon my long exposure. I already bought the dip today, and obviously, you know, that is proving to have been a little bit too aggressive. The thing is, with altcoins, it kind of works out to where you can, you know, like I bought Dust today, and I'm actually above water on my buy somehow. So even though my Bitcoin buy is down, So, you know, that's probably, that's the kind of shallow scenario. The next kind of scenario would be kind of coming into this region for the dip. And then, like, the more bearish scenario would be, you know, I really don't think, like, we shouldn't give, like, a retest of this range, right? So it should be, like, a more shallow dip if it's going to dip at all. If we're sluggish down into this region at all, then we're going to end up going a lot lower, like, all the way down towards, like, 38K. And that's just going to be, you know, like, larger range distribution kind of thing. If we come down into here, you want to gig along. I don't think that that's very likely. So yeah, that's basically medium time frame plan. Technically we could come back towards the range high a bit more. If we come down into here, you know, I just think it makes sense to bet on it. But again, don't just blindly copy trade me. My risk tolerance is probably different than yours. Alright, so yeah, I mean, huge thing to pay attention to moving forward. Yeah, I mean, this is like the only thing that makes me concerned at all. We like this, and we don't like this. This is what we were talking about with spreads earlier, guys. I don't like this. While this is red, we're probably, you know, we're more likely to go down while this is red. It really is that simple. I want to see it start to get thick and blue again. Just unironic, you know, wasn't even intended since I'm the blue guy, as everybody knows. Like, I opened up the chat this morning and I see blue ting, so I'm the blue ting now. But while this is red, we're probably likely to go down, and we're looking for spot premiums to start to return and some sort of bottoming structure. Which bottoming structure generally is gonna, you know, be something like, you know, drive, and then like weaker drive, or drive. You know, you could have the 3 drives or the weaker drive. You know, those are the kind of basic bottoming structures that you want to look for. But let's go ahead and move over into altcoins. All right, so just running through alts. Dusk was one of the ones that I really like still. I think this is a good coin. 31 cent or like whatever, 32 cents is like pretty strong resistance on this thing right now, so it did start to trade above it. So, you know, I mean, this is looking kind of like it's in breakout territory. If you look at this thing on high time frame, let's zoom out a little bit. If you look at this thing on high time frame, it's looking pretty sendy. While it's above this major resistance, it looks like it's a pretty strong breakout right now. So I like Dusk. I am currently long on Dusk. I've taken quite a few longs on Dusk recently, and I did go ahead and buy the dip on it today. So I'm praying that it goes up more. Let's look at ASTR. This one's not obviously holding up as well, but I do still like this one from a trend structuring standpoint. It's probably going to pull back a little bit more, so you're probably going to be able to get something like this. That's probably what I'm looking for on ASTR for trend continuation. Let's look at Pendle. This one's really painful for me. I fumbled the bag on Pendle. Sold it for a 15% move, and then it went up 150%, so big F on that one. But I really like, I mean, how do you say anything negative about something like this that off the yearly open is just like straight up getting T-WAP'd the fuck up like this? Like, this thing is super strong. You're probably looking for, like, you know, dip into demand plus, you know, band for continuation. Right, that's probably what's going to happen on this one. TIA is still a pretty good coin. Yeah, from the outlook, I wanted to buy the dip on TIA closer to fair value. So if TIA dips a little bit more, it might be one that I allocate to. I didn't buy it today. I didn't buy most of these coins yet today. I just bought Dusk. Sui. Sui is one that definitely looks pretty good overall. My plan was I wanted to get just like we talked about on the last outlook, where I wanted to have that kind of shallow dip into demand with the band. That's what I was hoping for on Sui as well. Shallow dip into the band plus demand, and send it. So probably what I'll be looking for with that. Pyth is another one that I still really like. If I can get a legit dip towards 50 cents on this one, I would probably go ahead and just buy spot on it. Good lesson with these kind of things, right? Like, I took a couple of trades on Pyth, and just like kind of with Pendle, It's a psychological thing. If you buy things on perps, it's so easy to close them out too early. So a lot of these kind of things is a lot better to just buy spot and AFK on them. So I got shilled on this by Sting at like 30 cents, and I should have just aped spot, and instead I bought perps, and it was definitely a mistake because I closed it out way too early. So this might be one that I end up buying spot on. It's fundamentally strong, and the chart looks good as well. Link, I still really like Link. You look at Link from a higher time frame, a 1.5 year long accumulation, breakout, reaccumulation above previous value area high, pretty fucking bullish. Strong yearly open, so you're looking to buy dips on Link. Link is probably like a good one to buy spot on and AFK on, is what I would say. I really like Render. Pretty surprised how strong it looks today. This is a good coin, definitely. Classic dip buyer. We'll spend a little bit more time on Solana here than some of the other coins. So this is one of the coins that I'm actually have a major spot allocation to. So at the beginning of the year, I was not liking this coin that much. Let's drop it down a little bit for a little more detail. So the way that this was developing was the way that most coins were developing, which made me a lot more conservative / bearish on them. I didn't like the fact that the yearly open, the yearly VWAP was like basically rejecting and giving us lower highs and lower lows, right? So what my plan with Solana was I de-risked a whole bunch of my Solana at like 102, and what happened was my plan was to do this basically. I said this over here that I wanted to see us trade back above the yearly, flip it and use it as support, and then bounce from there. So basically any moves down into the year, towards the yearly VWAP should get bought in my opinion. So I might, with basically this kind of risk to reward logic, that if I can buy around the midpoint in validation below, and I want it, as long as the yearly continues to serve as support, that we'll end up trading higher. If we zoom out on Solana, first FTA is going to be the yearly value area high over here at $150. If you get above $150, none of this shit's gonna matter, right? So basically, you're really just worried about $150. Beyond $150, Solana can just fly. I don't think any of this stuff up here is really gonna matter that much. And yeah, I do think that it's just a matter of when. Does it take 6 months? Does it take a year? Does it take 2 years? It's just a matter of when is Solana trading all the way the fuck up here. So that's gonna be it for Solana. You want to buy dips on this one though, for sure. This is one of the only things that I really want to buy, continue to buy more spot on. Avalanche was one that I was keeping an eye on. I'm probably going to go ahead and remove it from the list right now. I'm not super interested in it. The reason why I liked Avalanche was just a kind of Solana beta play. Last year, Avalanche got carried up by Solana a lot, and actually in terms of performance, Avalanche actually did better. Avalanche went up like about 100% more than Solana did, which Solana went up a lot, right? Solana went up like 10x last year, and I think Avalanche went up even more than that. So don't quote me on that actually, because I don't know for sure, but I'm just going off memory. So Avalanche is maybe a good play if Solana continues to do really well. Avalanche will just get lifted by it. Last coin that I really like right now is Blur. Blur looks really good overall. There isn't too much to say. Like, all the coins that I like have the same kind of setups and structuring. I hope that's clear to you guys. But yeah, I think that this is a good coin. I'm gonna catch up with chat now, and yeah, I mean, if there are other coins that look good out there, but for the most part, most of them look bad. This is a perfect example of like a coin that I don't want to be bullish on, right? Like, so you guys that have been watching for a long time probably remember, like, I've been promoting INJ for like a long time. I really fumbled this breakout for sure, but like the majority of the up move, I was able to capture a lot of it. But you gotta respect when the shift comes, and when something looks like this, where it has a yearly open and it's just like developing bear structuring right now. It's the same argument as Solana was, right? This is bearish. So in order to be bullish on Solana, on INJ, and this applies to, I'm doing this as a lesson because this will apply to a lot of your coins right now, right? When they look like this, you want to be risk off on them, in my opinion. If it starts to get back above the yearly and starts to flip the yearly and starts to curve the yearly up, that's what you want to see, right? Spend time above the yearly and then start to drag the yearly up. That is bullish. So this is the kind of basic structuring you want to see take place. on any of your shit coins, if you want to be bullish on them, this is it. That's the reason why I flipped back to being bullish on Sol, right? So, I know I probably have a whole bunch of messages, so let's get into them. Things like Sui and Sei doing really well. Yeah, I like Sui. I don't like Sei as much. Okay, actually, I take that back. Sei looks a little bit better now. So Sei looks like it's trying to flip. So I want to see it, you know, things like this, I want to see them, you know, start to chop and use the yearly as support and start to round it up. I want to see yearlies pointing up, and then that's when I want to be bullish on them. So this looks okay. Obviously from like a, you know, overall trend structuring, it's definitely got a good trend. I don't like how this is developing as much as some of the other coins. But yeah, I mean, say it could be a decent coin. It needs to develop a little bit more before I can be bullish on it. Clipped and shipped. Long at the balls. Yeah, you always long the right ball. Free alpha. What indicator is that? Or you probably, these are VWAPs. That's probably what you're referring to. How do you avoid letting the Bitcoin chart affect your altcoin trades when they reach targets? So how do I answer that? I mostly trade altcoins that are baited to Bitcoin, but a lot of coins can end up moving on their own. So it's all about recognizing, is your shitcoin moving on its own, or is your shitcoin moving from Bitcoin, right? If it's moving off the back of Bitcoin, then you need to respect Bitcoin a lot more. If it's moving on its own, so like a good example is like TIA has really moved on its own a lot, where it's not really like, you know, there's instances where like the market was nuking right here and TIA is just like continuing its trend structuring. So you're looking for coins that are moving completely on their own and are not, directly correlated to Bitcoin. The more correlated they are to Bitcoin, the more you need to respect the coin. But either way, you should always have some respect for Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin goes up or goes down, it's going to obviously have a huge impact on the aggregate of alts. Live by the blue meme, die by the blue meme. Blue ting. If I could be like small ting and be the blue ting, that would be a huge W for me from a meme standpoint. Now I still have the anchor VWAP from 34K. A little bit off topic, but yes, I do. Most definitely. What charts are you using for Bitcoin? What is that question? I'm not sure how or what you're asking or what you're trying to get out of it. I mean, these are the charts I'm using for Bitcoin on TradingView at least. High time frame, medium time frame, low time frame. Merlin from the Sword and the Stone, confirmed. Later, Kevbot. What do you think about Arbitrum? Let's see. Yeah, not bad, not bad. I mean, I like the, here, let's... What the fuck is that? Ew. Why is it not defaulting to my fucking proper anchored? Whatever. We'll just work with that. That's not how my anchored VWAP is supposed to look at all, but it is what it is. I like, so decent local uptrend, and the yearly is in the kind of pre-Solana, right? So this is, Solana did this last week and then bounced, right? So, and I think Solana will keep pulling back and then bounce again from yearly. So some of these alts are just basically lagging behind things like Sol. Sol's leading them. So when you see this, right, I'm not really bullish on it as is. I want to see it, you know, spend more time above the yearly and start to use the yearly as support, start to round the yearly up. It looks okay overall. It's just it looks like it's a little bit early right now is what I would say. What about Tim? I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to say about this when we look at it. What's the earliest? What's the ticker with the most history? I mean, there isn't really too much to say about things that look like this, you know? What's gonna happen with this one? Probably just down, right? You had an airdrop that went up a lot. It got really hyped up. Local trend structuring looks bearish right now, so it probably goes lower. Maybe in the long term, this ends up being a big booty coin, which is like this, right? So you continue the distribution cycles, you build out the ranges, right? You distribute and you mark it down. Fucking stupid pop-ups. And then you eventually kind of round out. Maybe you kind of deviate this, trade below it, and start to round out and trade up, and then go up a lot higher. So the only real bull case for something like this, in my opinion, is like trading lower, building out a rounded bottom, and then going up higher from there. The classic Aptos run up. I could see this working out for you. Dot. Uh-oh. We got our first coin that I almost for sure I'm gonna bully. I don't like DOT. I haven't liked DOT for a long time, but let's see. Let's go into it with an open mind. Jesus. Yeah, I don't like. I mean, DOT really failed with the whole parachain narrative. Like this coin failed, right? So, it didn't even have much of a bullish year last year. So if it wasn't bullish in 2023, that's not a good sign, right? If your coin didn't go up in 2023, that's bad. You know, the other thing to add to that is that, you know, it's got pretty bearish local structuring with the yearly, so not a good coin overall for sure. Definitely would not be one that I would tell people to be bullish or optimistic on. That is for sure. I want a short OP. I don't know about that one, brother. Maybe like a low time frame short like this, right? Maybe that works for you, but this has a pretty decent trend structuring. It flipped this massive level right here. This was a huge resistance that flipped. And, you know, the local trend, you know, is up. And the yearly development, trying to zoom in and we're failing to do so. The yearly development is starting to develop, you know, more bullishly, right? You want to see it spend more time. The same argument as all the other ones, right? Spend time up here, use the yearly as support, round the yearly up. This one is not one like, you know, that I don't really want to short anything, to be honest right now. So maybe I'm a bad person to ask, but I'm just looking to buy things, right? I'm looking for buys only. No, I don't have really any NFTs, bro. It's not my thing. I have a couple NFTs in Solana from being shilled by the boys, but that's it. Shitloads of people buying the dip on leverage right now without spot buying. How are you deciding that people are buying the dip on leverage? Guys, just because somebody buys, you know, let's do a little lesson here. Just because somebody buys on a derivative doesn't mean they're using leverage. I use perps all the time without leverage. So I do think that we'll probably keep bleeding down and wash people out once more. But how are you deciding that people are buying the dip on leverage without any spot buying present? You know, that might be pretty obvious. That might be true, right? There doesn't actually appear to be too much. Maybe Binance spot is starting to show up a little bit, but and I think but you guys should please try to erase that kind of statement from your vocabulary. You probably saw somebody post that on Twitter, and now you're saying it. I'm not trying to single you out and bully you or anything. I'm trying to educate Um, most people are probably not going to be too accurate with regards to the whole people are buying the dip on leverage thing, right? Like I open perp trades all the time that aren't leveraged or super low leverage. Just like today, right? I bought perps today, which was a mistake for sure. I was too early, but I'm not leveraged, right? Like it's not really a big deal. You win some, you lose some. My INJ spot bags are hurting. Yeah, bro. You're praying for that kind of flip like I was talking about, right? I don't like INJ how it's developing. This is not a good look on the yearly open. How do you approach hedging? I mean, I have a whole bunch of videos on that in the Paragon. I'm actually about to make a brand new one because I got asked about that this morning. I'm not over here worried about hedging out a 2 or 3% down move on Bitcoin. I don't care. For hedging, you know, it's something I do infrequently these days. I've had some really good hedges in my career, but for the most part, it's really not something to be overly concerned with all the time. You know, from a spot standpoint, just fucking deal with a little bit of drawdown here and there on your spot bag, and don't try to overmanage it. A lot of you guys will probably just end up losing money trying to hedge. You open and close hedge, you eat fees, and you hedge at wrong times and stuff. It's definitely an art to hedge properly, so most of you guys should probably not really worry about that. When you're bearish, either reduce some spot exposure or just straight up eat your spot exposure drawdown and make sure you're just not like in any derivative trades, right? Be flat on derivs when you think price can go down. I have no fucking idea what that shitcoin is, but let's look at it. Actually, we'll do Beam first because I saw people asking about that earlier. Yeah, this was one of the only coins I really fucked up on this week, where I missed this coin, putting it on my list. This thing's pretty strong, you know, straight up just it's a dip buyer, right? So if this thing does any sort of meaningful pullback, you want to buy this. This is like Tia and some of those other ones, right? That's what this looks like, right? Tia over here or something. Little lesson for you. Keep that on the chart. I'm not going to explain it. Yeah, a couple people asked about Beam. It looks good. It looks good overall, definitely. This is the only really good coin that I fucked up on by not putting it on my watch list at the beginning of the week. Illuvium, shit, man. I've not really ever traded Illuvium, but we'll look at it. I know what the ticker is because I got, yeah, not good, right? So technically, right, your yearly situation might be all right, but like, you know, this is not a good look. Let's go and find the spot so that we can have more price history. Okay, that doesn't look, never mind. That looks horrendous. So I don't like buying things that have these like enormous downtrends like this. They don't have any like local uptrend, right? Not good in my opinion. Maybe it's okay that, you know, it had an okay close at the end of the year, but no, this is definitely not something I would say is a good coin. This is a bad coin. This is gonna go down, in my opinion. H-bar, yeah, I mean, again, this is going to go just like that last chart probably. H-bar is probably going to be one that we bully hard, right? Giga macro downtrend. Yeah, I mean, I just straight up don't like coins that look like this. Go remember what the coins I showed at the beginning looked like, and then look at this. I kind of can't even believe H-bar's on my list, but I must have traded it at some point. It's not a good looking coin. I'm not sitting here saying that it's impossible for it to go up, but this is definitely not something that I would allocate to or try to trade. All right, I'll look at your helium thing. Is that really the ticker? Jesus. All right, so obviously from a macro standpoint, dog shit coin. It has, you know, decent developing structure on the yearly, so that's what you got going for you, is that it did have a nice rally in Q4, and it has a decent yearly developing. I don't like this overall, but it's not as bad as some of the other things that we looked at, your H bars and your dots and things. This does look better than that. Wouldn't be one that I would pick though, most likely. Unless one of my fundamental friends said that this had strong fundamentals, then maybe I would change my mind a little bit. But I don't really like the way this one looks for sure. It wouldn't be one that I would pick. But it's not the worst that we've seen. Quick water break. Make sure you're drinking water, boys. Hey Mag, do you think it affects one's ability to execute if you sit in an underwater P&L for a long time? Yeah, it could, right? Like, if you're like underwater and you're waiting for it to, you know, come back and, you know, to being positive again, that can probably have a negative impact on your decision making. That's kind of a difficult one for me to really dive into too much. I try, like, today, unironically, is a pretty bad example because I am underwater on a couple of trades, but it's not something I really do that much, right? Like, if I probably would have already cut these trades and looked to re-enter if I wasn't streaming. This is one of the main reasons why I fucking don't like streaming, because it gets in the way of my trading. I'm not trying to execute and make adjustments to my positions while I'm live. It's not a good idea to mix emotions and stuff. But yeah, to answer the question properly, definitely makes sense that if you're sitting underwater in trades, it can have a negative impact on your decision. You can make much worse decisions. The same argument, right? If you're like way above water, it equally affects your decision making negatively, because your perceptions are skewed when you see green P&L, right? So the best thing you can try to do is try to forget about the positions and make, you know, objective decisions based off of flow and structure and momentum and stuff. Hey bro, do you use third-party terminals like Insilico? Yeah, I've been using Insilico for a long time now. That's the only one that I would probably recommend. Not because the other ones are bad, but it's just the one that I've used a lot. And I like the team a lot as well. People like Ozzy and Dennis, they're just good dudes. I like them. Bitcoin picked lower just now. I mean, bro, I don't care about it moving 0.3%. Beam used to be Merit Circle. Yeah, I'm aware. What the hell is that? FXI. If it doesn't pop up right away, you know, sorry Bailey, but you know, I'm not into on-chain shitters. CKB. What the fuck? I mean, you said CKB seems like a cartel coin. I would be paying close attention. Like, look at the lending rates on this thing. That would be an indication. If funding is really negative off of moving up like this, then maybe it's a cartel coin. I don't. It's hard for me to even say much with something like this, right? That just randomly goes up, whatever. You know, fucking 100% in a day almost. Yeah, it's aight. You know, what am I supposed to say about this though? You know, only thing that I would ever do with things like this are scalp them. If it was high tick and had decent liquidity, then maybe I'd scalp something like this. But I'm not in scalper mode these days. Right now, the only thing I'm interested in is, you know, momentum swings. You know, or maybe not even necessarily swings, but just playing momentum over and over again. I'm not trying to scalp much. All right, Nikki, for you, we'll look at it. I've seen the AI ticker a bunch, so I don't think that this qualifies as much of a shitter. Is there a spot? There's a spot pair, I think, for this one that has more history. Nope. Oh yeah, it is. Apparently, I've already charted this one. Yeah, I mean, this one looks a lot better than, you know, out of all the shitters you guys have given. Nikki knows what's up. This one, it doesn't look nearly as bad as some of these other things. So, I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to say about something that looks like this. It's not really like a whole lot of price history for me to work with, but, you know, it probably looks like it's, you know, going to keep going up and that you want to buy dips on it. But I don't really know. I mean, main things with this would be like, what's the activity rates on it like, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Are a whole lot of people fucking trading this thing? I know that, like, you know, obviously it's an AI related coin. AI is a fucking super strong narrative. You know, AI is something, you know, not specific to the ticker, but just AI as a narrative is for sure something that you want to be keen on over the next couple of years. It's, you know, the AI bubble probably hasn't even really started yet, so there's going to be a lot of wealth made from AI over the next several years. I already tried to look at that. I mean, are you asking me to look at a stock, Bailey? If that's the case, I mean, that's what you're asking me to look at? Sting might be bullish on HNT, to be honest. A lot of Soul Bros are fans. Yeah, I'll just wait for him to show me on it. I don't like the way that the HNT chart looks as much as some of the others. Like I said, it has a decent setup going on. You know, I like the local trend. I like the yearly development. So this will probably trade up. This is nowhere near as bad as some of the other coins I made fun of. But it's still not one, like, I would just wait for Sting to show me on it. And to be clear, guys, I'm like completely immune to shilling. There's like nobody in the world that can get me to be bullish on something from shilling me on it other than him, pretty much. What's Sting, Doctor? It's my friend. He's a person. Sting is the guy that mentored me a lot in my early days where I was taking trading seriously. Hopefully sends my coin to $20. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to FUD your coin, bro. Good luck with this. It does have a couple of decent attributes, right? Local uptrend and the yearly, I do like. But I generally stay away from some of these kind of things most of the time. You look at total. I don't really do the total stuff that much. So no, sorry. Vanry, what the? That's a fucking on-chain shitcoin. That's Charlie will probably stream later today. This is probably one you're gonna want to ask Charlie about. What the fuck? Yeah, just go and ask Charlie about this one because I'm pretty sure that Charlie has a bunch of this token. First thing we see is blocky volume profile. Yeah, I mean, if you go to a shitcoin and it's a blocky ass volume profile, not a good look. I think I already tried to look at that one. I don't like when you guys say the same chart over and over again. Oh, maybe I didn't look at this. Yeah, I mean, alright. Sure. I don't know what I'm supposed to say about this. It looks alright. Maybe it establishes a stronger trend and goes up, but definitely not my cup of tea. I like to have a reason to want to do this other than the chart too. You know, a lot of the times there's fundamental reasons or whatever to participate in these things. CKB funding is at negative 900% annualized. So there you go. That makes a good amount of sense. Look at Ocean. What the fuck is Ocean? So, I mean, pretty brutal downtrend, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of in the middle of like good and bad. It doesn't look as bad as some of the other coins. It had like a decent year last year. I mean, but like, you guys got to appreciate, like, we look at this, and even though I don't like INJ right now, look at what INJ's trend, did last year, right? Look for coins that went up a lot last year. Yeah, I know it's wild and hard for you guys to accept, but the coins that went up a lot will probably go up more, right? What goes up keeps going up. What goes sideways keeps going sideways. You guys are... You're asking me to look at a $20 million market cap coin? Bailey, no offense, bro. That's not my cup. Yeah, it's not what I do. I'll look at on-chain coins when Bitcoin is at $90,000, $120,000. That's when I'll fucking buy on-chain coins. But until then, I'm not looking at on-chain. I don't have any interest in it. I have friends that will just tell me what to pay attention to for those kind of things in the future, and I just get to be ignorant and ignore that stuff for the time being. Yeah, Fern, we'll look at that. I've seen that a lot, and like I think even my boy Nas was like shilling this one, so it's probably an okay coin if Nas was shilling it. Is there one with more price history? Okay. So yeah, I mean, decent local trend for sure. It looks okay for, yeah, it looks all right. You know, you're kind of looking for it to flip the yearly, round it out kind of argument. Not terrible for sure. Definitely not one of the worst. What do you think about alt? Like, alt is a ticker? What the hell? Some fucking fried shit right here to name the coin alt. Not a good look, right? It looks like it's gonna, you know, this looks like a random coin that got listed, which his sole purpose is to get distributed for people that are insiders and have tokens they're gonna be dumping on you. So it probably does this. And then you're hoping, right, if you want to be bullish on it, you're hoping it does the big booty, you know, like we talked about, find, you know, round it out and then go up again. Sorry, my drawings are decaying as the stream persists. You guys are really killing me though with these fucking turbo shit coins. Does Thing have a Twitter? Yeah, let me link him real quick. Yeah, I would appreciate it if we didn't. I'm just like falling apart mentally. You guys asking for turbo shit coins. I've said this before. I've you know said it a lot of times on streams. You guys have control over what you get out of me on these streams. When you come in here and ask me to talk about things that I don't know about and I'm not interested in, we're just kind of wasting time. Any advice for someone who's sidelined, hoping to buy spot alts a bit lower? I mean, look, dude, days like today are your opportunity to buy most likely. So if you're sidelined, I kind of feel for you, but you just got to fucking find an opportunity to ape some shit. You know, maybe just start straight up dollar cost averaging into things. I would only be recommending that on strong things, right? Buy things that are strong. STX is a good coin. Yeah, I do think STX is probably good. This is one of the ones I actually bought this morning. I think I probably didn't size it correctly, but STX like immediately dollied. I don't actually remember what I bought specifically. Let me look. Yeah, I bought Sol STX, Dusk, and Bitcoin. So this is one of the coins that I actually bought today. It basically dollied the move right away. That's what I was looking for. If we zoom out on this one, I mean, pretty fucking chag coin right now. Local uptrend strong, yearly's developing strong. I literally bought like a fucking standard deviation, a weekly standard deviation, I think is what I filled on today for this coin. But yeah, STX is actually a good coin. Beam very strong. Yeah, I already went over Beam, but I do think Beam is good. You know, if you can get a legit pullback on Beam, you probably don't even get something like this. Honestly, probably what you get is go to this chart. I mean, shit. This might have been the dip, right, on the weekly band. If you get a steeper dip, then you're maybe looking at like, these are the two kind of regions to buy the dip on for, you know, I think shallow dip buying on trends is very underrated. Overall, though, yeah, I definitely like Beam. That's why it's on the good scams, right? Pay very close attention to my lists. They exist for a reason. Ondo. Yeah, we're looking at Wanda. Ondo, let's see. I do kind of like Ondo a bit. I haven't been paying too much attention to it. I'm looking for this to develop a more obvious trend and then participate in it. So we'll go ahead and just come over here. I think this has the RWA narrative going for it, so that's pretty solid for sure. Yeah, I mean, it started a local trend off the February Open, so that's pretty decent, you know. I would basically want to see this trend persist, keep making higher highs and lower or higher lows. And the more it does that, then the more you know, the more optimistic I'd be on it. Don't be surprised if Ondo's up here next week on my good scams list. If this can persist a little bit more, then it all of a sudden becomes a good scam coin. So I have a lot of peers and mutuals and stuff that are bullish on Ondo. I've seen that a lot in group chats and stuff. Yeah, it's probably going to be a good coin. I would personally wait for it to develop more before I would do any positioning on it. I'm not the type of person that feels like they need to be first to anything. I'm perfectly fine being a little bit late. That's definitely my style with most of the narratives. Wait for them to fully emerge and develop before participating in them. It's just an opportunity cost kind of thing. I don't need to be the, you know, bottom tick berry. I'm perfectly happy just being the guy that just participates in the trend. Good examples, you know, for that would be like, you know, I had friends like last cycle. I had friends shilling me on the metaverse stuff, which was an awesome narrative. When metaverse popped off, shit was going crazy. But I had you know, a lot of my friends that were early to that, they had to sit in the metaverse bags for weeks, if not many, you know, even in some instances, sitting in those bags for several months before they did something. So I always approached the, you know, these kind of narrative trends with the idea of just, it's better to be a little bit late. I don't really understand how we get the same tickers asked all the time. It's very perplexing. Yeah, so STX I think is a good coin. It's actually one of the only coins that I'm long on right now. I bought STX Dusk. Fuck, what's the other one? Let me look at it. Why is my fucking terminal not connected right now? I don't know. Do you stake your STX? No, I literally just bought the fucking perp today, bro. I just bought the nuke. Which is, yeah, STX and Dusk are saving me from being grossly underwater today. Fuck yeah, honestly, thank you, Dusk. Like, Jesus. I fucked up. I did fuck up a little bit today. I probably should not have bought Bitcoin where I did. I'm like $150 underwater on my Bitcoin buy, which a little bit of an F, but it is what it is. I normally like to be very picky with my entries on things like that, but I kind of just aped this morning. Luckily, STX and Dusk are carrying me. So yeah, it looks like Dusk is at the top of the list for a reason, guys. I think that you know, I'm going to go ahead and promote my own coin right now because I'm long on it. I think this coin's going to fucking send. I really like the structuring on this coin. I like everything about it. I like the fact that it's kind of flipping this kind of resistance zone into support. So good coin, good coin. When is the ICO on the Paragon coin? I know you're just trolling, Frank. We're never going to do something like that. If there's ever any sort of Paragon coin, Blepe coin, anything like that, a Blepe coin already exists. Would never have any affiliation with that kind of stuff. You guys already kind of know my stance on on-chain. There are some legit approaches to on-chain, but a lot of it is straight up just like insider fucking scamming and stuff, and I'm not about that personally. I don't want to participate in those things. When Bitcoin is up a shitload and we're in some turbo risk-on money, you know, or turbo risk on cycle, that's when I'll buy some on-chain coins. But no interest right now in that. Yeah, Pudgy Penguins are doing really well for sure. But again, I'm pretty absent from NFTs. I have a couple of Solana NFT things, which I'm not going to promote. Other than, yeah, like Tensor, because of Sting. It's the only thing I would promote. Time to ape in, y'all. Look for good entries, guys. You're responsible for managing your own risk. All right, I got good entries today on things like Dusk and STX. I got really good entries today. So, you know, those entries have already come and gone. If you look at this thing right today, going for a classic view op retest. Any of you guys get this bug with your PvP? This bugs the shit out of me. For some reason, like at price, it like makes the lines really bright, and then if I turn it on and turn it off, it is fixed every time. Really annoying. I'd put my life savings into Para USDT perp. I know you would, because you're a fucking real G. Alright, everybody. I think we're probably going to start to wrap it up here pretty soon. I don't really know if this was a good stream or not, but it is what it is. I just came on and just fucking rambled for an hour and a half. I guess that's what I normally do. Hopefully you guys learned something today. That's, you know, always my intention with doing these streams. It's, you know, the purpose of these streams is not to just, you know, promote coins or anything like that. Most of the time I'm actually going to shit on your coins because it, you know, 90% or more of the altcoin market still looks bad, in my opinion. It's been that way for a long time. Bitcoin, you know, if your coin is getting outperformed by Bitcoin, that's all you need to know. So, yeah, I mean, any last minute questions or anything, squeeze them in here. I'll hang out for a few more minutes, but I'm gonna pop out here pretty soon. Maybe you guys can tell, but I did not get very much sleep last night. Actually, maybe you guys care or you don't. I actually like cut myself last night by accident. Yeah, in a weird way. I had a little bit of an accident super late last night. Cut myself and had to spend like 30 minutes cleaning up a fucking wound. Not even gonna lie. I was actually a little bit worried for like a moment there. Nobody likes seeing blood pour out of their body, but I cut myself moving some shit around like an idiot. And that fucked up my sleep for sure, because it just got like my heart, you know, my adrenaline just started going big time, and I just didn't sleep very well as a result. I went to bed really late and just couldn't really fall into a deep sleep last night. Some of you guys can probably relate to that, but yeah, take care of yourselves. Very, very stupid mistake last night, doing things late at night that I should have never done. No, don't worry, Nikki. I'm not gonna have a heart attack or anything. My anxiety, all of us have some version of anxiety. Mine's pretty under control these days. I don't get worked up about a lot of stuff, but you know, I saw some blood coming out of my body, and that definitely got my heart going a little bit. Pair of scissors, sharpening the snowboard. Soon, yeah. I'm already planning the next snowboard trip. Thank you, Lear. I will. And the same to you, obviously. All right, everybody, that's gonna be it. Closing thoughts. Press that like button for me if you didn't already. If you want to expedite your learning curve and, you know, have a faster learning process, then maybe consider checking out the Paragon group. I don't promote that lightly. I feel very confident that if you join, you're going to learn a lot of stuff. No matter what style of trader you are, we will accommodate you. We have more analysts that are active in there than we advertise. So yeah, it's good stuff, and I feel very confident in promoting it. I don't promote much. But that's going to do it for the stream today, guys. Hopefully I have a big YouTube video coming out soon, so keep an eye out for that. Other thing to pay attention to is the Introduction to Trading Guide. It is 24 pages long right now. It's going to be all written. It's going to be really good. Don't pay attention to anything that you see right now. Ignore all that. These are literally just notes for myself for what I need to work on. But this is going to be something that comes out in the not so distant future. I'm really happy with what it looked like, how it's coming together so far. And I'm hoping that this can be a good universal guide for people to get like a good, baseline understanding of how to manage risk, what edge is going to be, basic psychological stuff, how to manage your capital, all these kind of really important topics. So this is going to be coming out real soon. After I get the, PDF version of it really finalized and released and shared with everybody, then from there I will start to make videos around this, which will obviously be on YouTube for everybody. So that's going to do it for me today. Hopefully the corn bounces, and hopefully that the local lows are close to being in. And yeah,